he is the force that pushes the sun to rise in the morning to come up from the underworld. So in the same way that a dung beetle pushes a ball of dung around and hatches its larvae out of the eggs and renews itself out of the darkness and out of filth, they saw this as a renewal from the underworld into the rising of the sun.
Why would they be here in Arizona, southern Utah, right?
There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown. I did not even plan on coming out here today. I was driving around in town. I had a bunch of other errands. I sold some stuff on eBay, returning some packages that I got on Amazon. And then all of a sudden I realized I'm right on the turnoff to come out here. And I just turned off and now I'm here. And I think I know why. I think I know why we're here. Obviously because of the last meditation experience that I had sitting underneath the petroglyph stone. But we have some stuff that we need to do here. We are back at Little Black Mountain at the petroglyph site, and look who's here to greet us. Like an omen. See that giant raven sitting there right on the fence post, like just chilling? Let's park and see if it follows us around today. Usually this is a sign. I noticed something in the editing of this video that I wanted to actually pause, take a screenshot, and point out just so that everybody could see the complexity and the depth of what the ancient indigenous people were doing and what they were setting up. Just look at this image where everyone is standing, and now look at the way the sunlight on the summer solstice is coming up over the top of the rocks. You see the shadow that is cast on the rocks forms the perfect shape of almost a bird's head, almost like a eagle or a bird fitting in with the bird shaman and the entire theme of this petroglyph area. Notice how the one wing slopes downhill down the giant boulder, and you even see the natural cracks and lines on this big rock looking like the shape of feathers spreading out. And then the other wing going uphill almost three-dimensionally onto the big boulder behind them, and there is the petroglyphs of the bighorn sheep that could represent the two different families of the village that live there, almost like a representation spiritually that on the summer solstice, the power of the cosmos, of the rising of the sun all the way up into the creation and the Milky Way galaxy and the whole formation of the universe coming down and bestowing protection and divine energy and spiritual power down upon the entire village, just like a guardian spirit or the bird shaman, this big eagle figure with its wings spread out. So I just think the shape of that shadow indicates a bird's head, and that means that the ancient indigenous people probably lined up that rock on top of this whole formation to make it all look like this. There's the V. And I wonder now if on the winter solstice, if when the sun sets, if it sets perfectly in that crack in the rocks there, if it's similar to the Magic Mesa, where as the sun goes down like that, it's meant to, you're meant to sit there or here, and this wedge of light basically goes up your chest and you connect with this higher power.
So we're gonna sit right here during the sunset and we're gonna take it all in. Right there. Okay, well, that's where we're gonna go first, which is right where that thing is. Right where the raven flew and landed. This is honestly how I find things and how stuff happens. I've done this several times. So, all right, this is what we're doing today. When I say that I spontaneously came out here, I really mean it. Like I have my gear in the back, but I do not have my lavalier mic. So we'll do our best. There's a little bit of a breeze, but right now there's no wind. I think I have my night vision camera, but again, all of the Skywatcher videos and everything that they posted from Jacob Barber's team was all daytime footage. I was saying that. I was like, I don't think it matters whether we do this in the daytime or the nighttime. And lo and behold, they had all of this footage of the tetra, the orb, the, what were they? The blob, the manta ray. There's 9 of them. There was the jellyfish, the 4 other ones. Oh my gosh, the tic tac. Can you remind me in the comments? I can't remember all of them. I think there's the one that was supposed to look like a crystal, right? The big bright star. That was another one. I'm forgetting a couple of them, but one of the things that just occurred to me. So I'm sitting here, I was filming this clip. I'm looking at the raven over there. I'm like, what petroglyphs are on that stone? And in my mind, like, we're paying attention to telepathy. We're paying attention to all this stuff. In my mind, the images of these petroglyphs started flashing through my head. And there is a ton of them here that look like jellyfish, and a bunch of them here that look like the orb, or they look like bright stars. They're like circles with big star symbols inside of them. And this entire petroglyph site is related to the winter solstice and the way that the sun rises in the winter solstice. So let's go around and let's do some petroglyph, ancient petroglyph jellyfish hunting, and let's see if we can see if it makes any sense now. Well, I just saw the raven was there, took off and flew, and then landed right on the stone where we did the meditation last time. Right there, on top of that. And then when I started walking up closer, it flew off again and around the side. So I don't know, let's just walk around and see what we see. I'm trying to use my AirPods. I don't have a selfie stick or anything. You can see in the reflection, I'm just holding my phone in my hands because I left like half of my stuff at home. But we'll see. Hopefully, maybe if I keep an AirPod in on the side of my head that's out of the wind, maybe that will work. I don't know, we'll check it. This is where the raven landed, so we might as well start here and check all around this boulder. Usually I go to this one first because it's the one that has the footprint with 6 toes on it, and we'll check that one out. I don't want to make this all into like ancient aliens or something like that. But let's just consider for fun here, we are at an actual site that goes back to like 300 AD. So like a long freaking time ago. And when we look at all these carvings, you rarely see depictions of just normal village life or everyday life, what you would consider like Stone Age people, even though they're pecked in the stones. And you see carvings, and there is things like goats and scenes of hunting and depictions of like shaman with feathered headdresses and stuff like that. But right alongside of that here, we also see tons of depictions of what look like these spiral figures with arrows coming out and openings at the top. And those could depict legends of like the Dene or the Navajo. They talk about, along with the Hopi, the origin stories of humanity coming from the underworld. And these are depictions of like the origins of mankind and humanity coming up through the labyrinth of the underworld from below and being guided by spiritual entities and even by the ant people, almost like extraterrestrials. So I'm really curious, when we just focus on Skywatcher's 9 UFO craft, and then we see the footage, we have the tetra, we have the bright star, we have the orb, the blob, we've got the manta ray, and these different shapes that are depicted. And so let's go around and look at the petroglyphs and see if we can find any of those UFO shapes, because all of these petroglyphs here have to do with astronomy, astrology, solar alignments, and the solstices. And I know for a fact there's tons of things here that over the last 3 or 4 years of coming to this spot, I've said myself, man, I don't know what that is. It looks like a giant jellyfish. I was still giving my AirPods a shot. It does make me nervous though, because I have looked into the patents behind these wireless AirPods, and some of them can literally be made to read your mind and stuff. Okay, so let's look at this. We've got symbols right here. There's definitely one there that looks like a goat. And then look at this symbol. Boy, it's hot today too. I'm gonna have to be really careful about my phone overheating. Does that look like it could be a depiction of one of the UFOs or UAP? What do you think? I'll put the screenshot over here on the left side. Does this one over on the left side, any of them match that symbol? But again, we also have to remember the connection on the Skywatcher team, and what these guys are also confirming is that the phenomenon, its correlation with consciousness. This concept of like the psionic assets using telepathy and consciousness and remote viewing to even predict UFO sightings that happen a full 24 hours before they arrive and before they show up. And so these symbols and these glyphs that we're looking for might have to relate to like where you're supposed to sit, or where you can sit to view, and how you use the geology and the formation of the stones and everything in order to tap in to that connection. Like if you think of human consciousness just like radio frequency, and your brain and your DNA, in fact, the hydrogen bonds between the bands of DNA and the DNA strands vibrating and acting sort of like a receiver, an antenna, a receiver of the signal, then think about what happens when you get like an old television and you put tinfoil on the antenna, or if you're trying to amplify the signal, how you get a bigger dish or a bigger array. And then just think for a second about the concept of doing telepathy or remote viewing in a specific spot that maybe the shaman or someone who was sensitive or special realized that you could sit under these boulders with the geology and do a sort of prayer or a meditation, and then it would amplify those experiences. And now we've got Jacob Barber and the team at Skywatcher talking about how they use a twofold method where they use technology that they call the dog whistle, where they try to transmit an actual mechanical frequency or radar signal, but then they also have the psionics. And most of the time when they're trying to use the machines and they're using the technical equipment, it fails, but the psychics keep getting better. Like their signal gets better and the equipment fails and doesn't work. And so this idea of looking to the past and looking into ancient technology, looking into these new discoveries like at the pyramids of Egypt and all of that, and exploring what these ancient indigenous people were actually doing, to me, I think is a big key to understanding what this is all about. Right where that raven landed is an entire symbol at the top. See that? That's right where it landed and sat up there. Is that another UFO symbol, or is that just a medicine wheel symbol? I don't know. Again, I don't have a selfie stick or anything, so I can't get too close. But if it wasn't for the raven, I honestly probably wouldn't have come over here. But these do kind of look like the ones that are depicted like an orb. I don't know. Look at the drawings and the depictions from the Skywatcher team, and you tell me. And okay, I'm gonna try to kind of shimmy up here and not touch anything. See if I can get a better shot of that. There we go. I got a little bit closer. Oh, my mouth is getting dry. I gotta stop and drink some coffee. Luckily, I've got some. Can you see it? I'll try to get it clear. That just looks like a circle with a cross to the middle and then dots in the four corners. And then we have another little symbol down here, like a little rectangle with a key in it as well. But now we're kind of up here on the top, or right next to this symbol. I don't know, but that's a pretty cool picture right there. I'm probably going to use that for my thumbnail image, right? UFOs in the sky. Let's look for more. Those honestly could match. They sort of look like the UAP types. It's so hot and bright out here that my screen on my phone is completely dark. So I'm gonna try to sit in the shade, hydrate a little bit, drink a cup of coffee here, and then we'll try to keep going. I gotta let my phone cool off though. But I can't even look at my phone to remember all 9 of the types and what they look like. But let's try and do that. This old Stanley thermos has been my favorite thing lately. I got this one and I got a bigger green one, and I just fill up the big green one with all of my coffee, and then when I go out hiking I transfer it into the smaller one because it's not so heavy. But isn't this cool? Like the top pops off and it has like its own cup. My dad had one of these when I was a kid. So you take the cup off and then it's got the thermal insulated cap on top, and you can fill this up with hot coffee and it will seriously stay hot all day. And it has this nice handle on the side. It pours out really easy. Let's go. This sounds like a sales pitch, but I honestly might put a link down in the description box for you to go get one, because even at home when I'm not outside running around exploring places, I fill this up with coffee and I keep it at my desk, because your coffee pot, it will get cold. It turns off after a certain amount of time, and you can drink hot coffee from your morning pot of coffee all day with this thing. The other thing is, to be fair, when I switched over on YouTube from doing like a bunch of family content that I used to do when I was married and was doing videos with all my kids and stuff, all of those videos were heavily based on doing, honestly, commercials. We were doing tons of brand deals and sponsorships. We did stuff for Minecraft and for Disney and Nintendo, Walmart, tons of different brands. And if you don't talk about products and you don't link products in the description, like to shop on YouTube and through Google, then the algorithm can suppress you because it doesn't see you as a viable channel for advertisers to put their commercials on. So if occasionally I talk about things, you should know, first of all, that I don't lie and I don't hoax. I only talk about things that I actually believe in. And I've been using this Stanley thermos for over a month now, and I literally do use it every day. I'm not lying. I fill it up with coffee in the morning and it stays hot all day. I can drink coffee like hot, just like first cup to the last cup. And I love that I can carry it in my backpack. So cheers to Stanley for figuring all that out. And every time I drink out of it, it reminds me of my dad. It reminds me of when my dad used to take me camping and he had his old green Stanley thermos and he would take the cup off, and I remember drinking out of this when I was a kid. You know, it just hits that vibe on every level. And let me know how you drink your coffee. Do you drink it just black, or do you put cream and sugar? What do you put in your coffee? Usually I drink it just straight black, but today, yeah, cream and sugar. It's a cream and sugar day. I decided to come back to this stone really quick just because another thing I wanted to point out is how many of these spots seem like they have to do with where you can sit, where your like viewing points. Like, notice how right below this glyph, you've got the glyph on top, but then straight underneath, it kind of looks like a dish, like you're supposed to lay back under there, like sit right there in that V, and the geology or something about the, holy shit. Look at this. Look at these lines. Whoa, I have never noticed this before. Do you remember in the last video when we came out here, we went over to the Glitter Mountain, the diamond mine, the selenite mine? We're just talking about how the geology is supposed to affect telepathic contact in these locations. Look at how these lines run exactly straight through the ground right here, and look at what it is. It's exactly that crystal. Wow. It's like a rope. It's just like a straight line of that crystal compressed, see? That's crazy. You can see the glitter in it. The crystal. See how that's just like an inch thick strip? Going like a line. Look how far it goes. And look how it goes straight up underneath the rock like a straight line. Look at how perpendicular they are, or parallel. Not perpendicular, parallel. Boom, 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 boom. It's almost like straight as an arrow into the mountain. That's wild. Look at how it goes. Here's a crack that goes right where you're supposed to sit. It has it in it. See? Oh, that's hollow all the way up underneath there. Jeez, I gotta watch for rattlesnakes and shit more. Stick my face in a rattlesnake, damn, one of these days. See that though? Wow, right underneath the glyph. Look at these ropes of crystal. See that? Whoa. pottery. This is indigenous pottery. All of the tourists, all of the people, thousands of people that have been through here and walked by this. That's a piece of ash pottery. It's gray like that because they take some like ash out of the fire. My hand's like shaking. I'm also sitting right on top of all this crystal geology. Whoa. I'm gonna put that back. See, it's just like all this stuff. See that line going all the way up? Oh, look at that. What the heck? We've been talking about this, and the more that we keep coming back and looking into this, the more it adds up. Yeah? See? He sat right on the meditation stone. That's where he's underneath it. He's in the hole underneath. He's in the window where I sat and did the meditation. Holy shit. Whoa. Look at the doorway. See him? He's in there. He's inside the cave where I sat last time I was here. That's where I sat and did the meditation. Guys, my heart is pounding right now in my chest. Whoa. I'm having like a spiritual moment right now. I mean, look, the tattoo on my arm is a raven. Because this happens to me so much. Well, that's literally on my arm. And his eye is like that. It's all white because he's a spirit messenger. He sees into the spirit dimensions. I got chills all through my body. He's still there. Whoa, guys. His tail feathers are in the cave. He's sitting there with his back to me, right where I was sitting and did the meditation. I can't believe that. You want to talk about like spiritual synchronicities. Some people might consider this stuff just coincidences, but I'm so far beyond that at this point in this journey. He's still sitting in there. It's if you guys know what happened to me last time I was here, this is wild. Okay, when I was here last time and I sat underneath that stone, I'm getting all emotional. I had this vision, and this shaman came up behind me, and I heard voices, and he told me things. And he was like a bird shaman. He's like, it's always this half man, half bird, like a Thoth or Enki, like the old Egyptian thing. It's like a half bird, or like Odin, if you're gonna get into Norse mythology. But he's still sitting there, man. He's been sitting underneath the hole in the meditation spot for like 10 minutes, doing the same thing that I was doing. I mean, it's just a bird, but come on. For me, this stuff goes beyond that now. Oh my God, he's still there. Oh my God. Look. He's still there. What is going on right now? Hello? Yes, I am paying attention. Two of them. As soon as I got to the stone here, they just start going nuts. This is right where they were. As soon as I crouched down here like this, they just started freaking out. The ravens just squawking like crazy. Look at the geology under here. Look at it's like layers of paper stacked on top of each other. See that? Those strips of white? That's all that selenite crystal. That's gotta affect us. That has to affect the electromagnetic field in these places. Right? There's this symbol here and this symbol here, but I can't tell much. Is there anything on top of this one? So the raven came and landed over here, sat underneath the cave over here, and then as I walked up and approached, it like hopped across the trail, came over here and chilled under here, and then when I walked up, two of them flew up and started going bonkers and started squawking like crazy. So I'm just gonna take a look at this one a little bit more, but I think it's pretty obvious that I'm supposed to sit underneath there again and do another meditation. And it's almost like the universe, Mother Nature itself, is trying to tell us, like right when I'm talking about these details lining up and how this has to matter, that has to matter. It's like, if you're looking for a sign, there's your sign, right? If there was ever a portal close to my home that I've found. This is it. This is the one. Boy, it's really hard to see. See, we come back here in this type of lighting, you wouldn't even be able to tell. I'd be like, oh, there's nothing there. But then you come back here in a few hours when the sun goes down more, and this whole thing is covered with these symbols. So let's walk around this side. Remembering all the geology going underground underneath our feet here. And we've got these, look how this is like a whole, if you wanted to look at this as them trying to draw some kind of jellyfish or plasma thing flying in the sky. There was the one that had they said looked like it had a flame in the middle. Was that the blob? It looked like an orb, but it had looked like it could have had a body of a flame in the center. But look at this, how it's like, you have a circle going up like this. There's these waves in the center, and then across the bottom, you've got all of these lines. Like they're trying to depict light shining or energy shining off, right? Let's just simplify our thinking a little bit and imagine them trying to depict energy going into the person meditating here, coming from the sky, or witnessing something in the sky coming down, right? See, this is more of the same. And this looks like it's been broken off. This might have been like a whole piece here. This is the same thing twice. Here and here. You've got the energy here and here, these lines. And then see how it has the hash marks. Now these, what if these are blankets? What if these are depictions of blankets? But I don't know, there's no straight edge. If this is the fringe off of a blanket. But wow, we had a really amazing experience sitting right there and meditating. To me, this means everything that we've been talking about. The geology, sitting underneath the stones, they call it geomancy. Doing a ritual connected to the stones and the earth and the rotation of the universe itself, and getting in connection with that and making contact with these alternate dimensions. It's like the same way that you would just go up to the dial on a radio and change the station. You come and you sit underneath a rock like this. You sit and you go deep within yourself and explore your own inner mind and your subconscious through meditation. And you step through that gateway and you realize that that's actually a waiting room with several doorways, and inside there is all these other dimensions of reality, all these other forms of life, and even other versions of ourselves in there. Also the spirits of the dead, our ancestors, and all the mysteries of the universe. It is the great inner chamber, or the great hall of secrets or whatever, and through there is many doors and many gates. But all throughout history, when you go explore these ancient secrets, you're going to see these kinds of clues. And then when modern colonizers came along and found these, they were completely misunderstood under the wrong context, and they were defaced and destroyed. And even to this day, when I post videos talking about this stuff, you're going to see people in the comments trying to say that this stuff is all about demons and going to attract demonology, or I'm going to get possessed by demons, or attracting evil spirits into my life. And it's that same kind of mindset and those same kind of people that rounded up these spiritual ancestors and people that inhabited the land and put them on reservations and destroyed this knowledge. And that's why we're all drugged up on pharmaceuticals today, instead of in touch with Mother Nature and ourselves and understanding secrets of consciousness and telepathy in the universe. So that's all I'm going to say about that. How do we know that's not just like another jellyfish coming down? Jellyfish. 11 lines coming off of that. Wow. And it was like a whole landing event. Well, the hunt for jellyfish is starting to get weird, guys. What does that look like?